Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 4 based on novel. So let's start. He died before he even reached Huyang city? President Zanyun pondered. Where did he die? What caused his death? I don't know. This must be reported immediately. He did not dare to hesitate. With a thought, a small universe descended. Clouds and mist rolled around the Qianyun Tower, naturally covering the entire top floor of the Qianyun Tower. When the eternal true gods perform the universe creation in one thought, they usually do it silently and calmly, and even the descending cosmic scenes blend naturally into the heaven and earth, completely controlling the surrounding areas. President Zanyun then stood up and performed a secret technique with great respect. A blood-red flame suddenly appeared out of nowhere, emitting an aura of disaster and darkness. My lord, President Zanyun said respectfully, just now, my communication order could no longer sense Hidomo. His life talisman has been broken, he is indeed dead. The blood-red flame slowly exuded the aura of disaster. He died just after arriving at Huyang city. Was he a master sent by the Yu Kingdom? Or was he a master sent by Lord Zhejiang? The state of Shi was eyeing the surrounding divine kingdoms, so naturally the relationship between the state of Shi and the state of Yu was not good, and the secret fighting never stopped. It is normal for subordinates to die. He hasn't arrived in Huyang city yet. President Zanyun explained immediately. Oh? Bloody Flame wondered, he should be here. Hidomo should have arrived, and today is the last day for him to arrive, said President Zanyun respectfully. Just today, I contacted him to urge him. But he said that he would have to delay his arrival for a few days, and he didn't say anything else. The blood-red flame said, since he said he would arrive in a few days, he should still be in the territory of Zhejiang Chaos State. You should pay attention and find out how he died. Yes. President Zanyun said respectfully, my lord, I am short of experts. Soon, there will be no shortage of them. The blood-red flames disappeared immediately. President Zanyun breathed a sigh of relief. Hey Duomo, that idiot, lost his life just because he was on the road. After reporting, President Zanyun sat down leisurely. Whoever can kill him must be very powerful. I don't have the ability to check. I'm sure the Marquis won't blame me. Serving a Chaos Lord, even coming to his country and taking such a big risk, President Zanyun certainly wants to reap huge benefits. As for desperate matters? Hide if you can. It was obvious that there was a powerful master behind Hidomo's death, but President Zanyun had no intention of investigating it. If he keeps rushing forward in everything, President Zanyun won't live that long. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Under the night sky. Luo Feng sat cross-legged next to the blue-purple blood crystal flower. It won't be too late to release the captured flying boat after picking all the blue-purple blood crystal flowers. I came to the origin continent and fought against the eternal true god of the origin continent for the first time. I can indeed see many of my own flaws. Luo Feng thought, I just became the eternal true god, and I haven't started practicing many secret methods yet. In this battle, I was completely defeated in close combat. Only with the perfect divine body can one withstand all attacks. If I meet someone who is good at trapping the enemy, I'm afraid I can be trapped in 2 or 3 moves. Then I'll have to rely on the secret technique of will, or the mechanical secret treasure. Luo Feng thought, from a long-term perspective, my future opponents may be at the level of the 3 kingdoms of the Food Kingdom. So, I still have to increase my strengths, practice the element art, and elevate my will to a higher level. At the same time, the improvement of the realm is very important. Now I have to find a way to break through to the Chaos Domination realm. To become the Lord of Chaos, one must comprehend the law of chaos. Luo Feng thought, on the one hand, one must actively comprehend the law of chaos, and on the other hand, one must learn some secret methods related to the law of chaos. From practice, experience some basic mysteries of the law of chaos. Only by combining practice and theory can you master the laws of chaos faster. The body-refining secrets I chose, Chaos Power Diagram, and Boundary Breaking 9 Swords, are both secrets that lead to the Chaos Realm. Luo Feng was not short of secrets, but he was a little poor. For the next period of time, I will major in Chaos Power Diagram, Break the World 9 Swords, and Legend Technique, and minor in Extinction, Donghua, and 9 Nightmares. From the perspective of personal growth, one decides on the main and secondary methods of practice. The 3 inheritances of the Duan Donghe lineage are good, but they are all auxiliary, allowing successive heirs to be better at saving their lives. In terms of resources, the heirs need to fight for it themselves. This Chaos Power Diagram requires the divine body to be cultivated as if it were a secret treasure, and requires a large amount of resources. I don't know how long this blue-purple blood crystal flower will last me in cultivation. Luo Feng thought. The key to the divine body is the true heart of God. As long as the true heart of God is protected from damage, you can refine the divine body to your heart's content. Therefore, generations of strong men in the origin continent have created various body-refining secrets. But there is no doubt that the stronger the foundation of the divine body, the better the effect of practicing the body-refining secrets. Luo Feng has a perfect divine body, so he will naturally choose the body-refining secret to make his divine body stronger. The resources needed for the secret body-refining method can only be purchased in Huyang City. Luo Feng calmed himself down and began to comprehend the 9 swords of breaking the world. One of the flaws in the Star Tower. There was a flying boat here. The clan leader and more than a dozen true gods looked at this layer of space in confusion. They felt that the end of the surrounding space was grey, and time and space were completely blocked, making it impossible for them to get out. Chief, what is the Supreme going to do by bringing us here? Will they use us as test materials? I heard that many true gods went to Huyang City to test drugs. Does this Supreme Lord want to capture us to test the drugs? The true gods in the team made various speculations and felt a little uneasy. After all, they had no power to resist. The 2 young true gods, Suo Zi and Suo Yun, were also worried as they listened to the discussions of their elders in the clan. The clan leader smiled and said, "If it weren't for this Supreme Lord, we would have all died just now. This Supreme Lord saved our lives. If there is anything he needs us to do, it will be an opportunity for us." In Huyang City, many true gods are eager to work for the eternal true God but don't have the chance. The patriarch had dealt with the eternal true gods before, and he knew very well that the high and mighty eternal true gods did not care about the weak like them. Since we have saved it, there is no need to kill it again. Chief, what should we do now? Suozi asked. Wait patiently, said the patriarch. Day and night rotate. A day in the origin continent was very long. Luo Feng practiced beside the blue-purple blood crystal flower for 3 days and gained some understanding of 9 swords of breaking the world, essence technique, and extinction. A day on the origin continent is very long, roughly equivalent to a year on my home Earth. Luo Feng thought. At this moment, the sky is bright, with white clouds floating. It is already daytime, but if you look up, you can still see a few of the brightest stars. Luo Feng suddenly smelled a stronger fragrance of the flower, which even made his soul consciousness feel extremely happy. He immediately turned his head and saw that the blue-purple blood crystal flower was swaying gently, and the surface of the petals seemed to be shining. It's finally fully mature. Luo Feng smiled. After emitting the richest fragrance, the light of this blue-purple blood crystal flower finally faded, becoming ordinary, and silently broke off from the rhizome and fell to the ground. Luo Feng waved his hand, and under the influence of his divine power, the blue-purple blood crystal flower floated in front of him. I heard that this blue-purple blood crystal flower is very helpful for cultivating bloodline. Luo Feng exclaimed, but I am not from the origin continent, so I can't cultivate bloodline. The geniuses who came back from the 3,000 original universes to the origin continent can only comprehend the laws. The creatures born on the continent of origin have special bloodlines lurking in their bodies, so they are eligible to enter the bloodline cultivation method. Luo Feng put the blue-purple blood crystal flower in a wooden box. It's time to go to Huyang City. Luo Feng took a step and traveled through the void and left, and at the same time summoned out Morosa and Mo Yuhu. Mo Yuhu, continue to show the way. Luo Feng said. Yes. Mo Yuhu didn't dare to ask more. He glanced around and continued to lead the way. Luo Feng looked at Morosa beside him and said, "You look so happy. Did you get a lot?" "I have gained quite a lot." Morosa showed a happy expression and telepathically said, "Master, if this kind of good thing happens 1,000 times, I think I will be able to reach the Chaos Realm." Luo Feng glanced at him. "Devouring thousands of eternal true gods? How dare you? You better absorb the power of heaven and earth." Luo Feng ignored him. The rich energy between heaven and earth in the origin continent turned into substantial mist. Absorbing the power of heaven and earth had a good effect. Call. After flying through the void for a long time, Luo Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. What is that? As a perfect divine body, Luo Feng's observation range is extremely far. Now he can see from afar an endless and majestic city at the end of the direction he is flying. This city seemed to be the wall of the world. The height of the wall was higher than any mountain Luo Feng had seen since he came to the origin continent. Compared with the height of the wall, the real body of Haidomo was only 1/10,000th of it. Under the cover of clouds and mist condensed by the power of heaven and earth, the entire towering city was looming, and Luo Feng could not see the end of the city wall. Although I already knew how huge the large cities on the origin continent are, I was still shocked when I saw them with my own eyes. Luo Feng thought to himself. "Sir, we are about to arrive at Huyang City." Mo Yuhu also saw the outline of Huyang City from afar and said, "There are only 3 large cities in the entire Zhejiang Chaos State. Each of these large cities is built on the ruins of chaos. They are jointly built by masters of the mechanical school and are extremely solid fortress cities." As they flew closer and closer, Mo Yuhu pointed ahead and said, "Your Majesty, ahead is the east gate of Huyang City. The 2 huge floating monsters above the east city wall are 2 of the 10 major armies of Huyang, the Tingjiao army and the Jinyu army." Luo Feng took a look and saw a huge plant floating in the sky above the south side of the Huyang city wall. It was green all over and had a lot of branches. He could see a large number of true gods following the branches and vines in and out of this huge plant. Above the north side of the city wall, there is a golden octahedron suspended. This octahedron is extremely huge, and there are also a large number of true gods entering and exiting along the light band. A group of huge plants and a golden octahedron are 2 of Huyang's 10 major legions. The Vine Dragon Army, the Gold and Jade Army. Luo Feng sighed. One army controls a supergiant mechanical secret treasure. His own Shawu Killing Feather Wing is a single-target mechanical secret treasure. The 2 huge machines in front of us are the Legion mechanical secret treasures. Their value is much higher, and the number of true gods required to drive them is also huge. Mo Yuhu introduced, each of the 10 legions of Huyang is led by an eternal true god, leading many void true gods and a large number of true gods. With the help of supergiant mechanical secret treasures, their power is unified, and they even possess some power at the level of the Chaos Realm. Luo Feng nodded. The Wu Yu wings he possessed could control chaos to a certain extent. In terms of power, a single Wu Yu wing was much weaker than this legion type. Even the most common soldiers in the 10 Huyang legions are at least at the 9th level of the true god realm. Mo Yuhu sighed, the 10 legions plus the Huyang guards will naturally shock the entire Huyang city. Luo Feng nodded slightly, then waved his hand and released the flying boat that he had rescued before, as well as the tribal chief and more than a dozen true gods. The tribe leader and more than a dozen true gods looked around and saw the majestic and huge Huyang city in the distance. They all bowed respectfully and said, "Greetings, Your Majesty. The city ahead is Huyang City." Luo Feng said, "Your destination is Huyang City, right?" Before rescuing them, Luo Feng saw them and heard their conversation. He knew very well that this tribal team was coming to Huyang City. "Yes, we are planning to come to Huyang City to thank the Supreme Lord for saving our lives," said the clan leader. "Let's part ways now." Luo Feng nodded, and then took Morosa and Mo Yuhu and flew directly to the endlessly majestic east gate of Huyang City. The clan leader and more than a dozen true gods of the same clan stood where they were, all somewhat stunned. I thought I was going to be caught and used as experimental material. I'm all set to try the drug. They were all very surprised. Who would want to be controlled if they could live freely? The chief looked at his fellow tribesmen and said with a smile, "We are lucky this time to have met the Supreme Lord. After entering the city, we will first help Suo Z and Suo Yun apply for accommodation, and then go to purchase what the tribe needs. We must leave before dark. Non-residents of the city must leave the city before dark. 1 day on the origin continent is equivalent to about 1 year on Earth, so there is still plenty of time just for shopping." "Yes." All the fellows responded. "Suo Z, Suo Yun, after you settle down in Huyang City, the City Lord's mansion will charge you 1 chaos crystal every century. At the same time, some dark forces will also charge you about 1 chaos crystal." The clan leader said, "Once you become void true gods, the City Lord's mansion's fees will be waived. The true god of the void, the true god of eternity, and others are exempt from residence fees in any city. Because they are the main force that runs a huge city. After becoming the true god of the void, those dark forces still want to reap the benefits." Suo Z asked. "We will get more," said the clan leader. "When you have been in the city for a long time, you will understand that the city is not completely controlled by the City Lord's mansion." Suo Z and Suo Yun listened obediently. "Enter the city." Following the clan leader's order, they immediately boarded the flying boat and flew towards the east gate together. The east gate of Huyang City is majestic and wide, large enough to accommodate a large number of true gods entering and exiting at the same time. There are so many practitioners from all races entering and leaving Huyang City every day. Luo Feng watched with great interest while flying. It was his first time to come to a large city on the origin continent, and Luo Feng found everything new. There are actually people walking. Morosa looked down in amazement. In addition to the large number of people riding flying boats, there were also a large number of true gods walking into the city. Not everyone can afford a flying boat. Luo Feng said. The space suppression in the origin continent is very strong, and the true gods are generally only about the height of a blade. If they are too tall, the pressure on the body bones will be too great. Under such terrible pressure, the true gods cannot fly by themselves, and they need to rely on flying secret treasures. Only after reaching the realm of true god of the void and mastering the void can one fly. What is that? Luo Feng looked into the distance and saw a dark green winged dragon also flying towards the east city gate. Among the numerous flying boats around, this dark green winged dragon is indeed very conspicuous, and its aura is quite terrifying. That's the mechanical treasure, Kai Pterosaur, driven by an elite detachment of the Huyang Legion. Mo Yuhu has lived in Huyang City for many years and is very familiar with it. He said with a smile, Kai Pterosaur requires hundreds of void true gods to control it, and it requires a very high will from the team leader. With this, Kai Pterosaur can even rival eternal true gods, and is extremely good at flying. Luo Feng nodded in understanding. The military equipment of the U state was indeed strong enough. Wherever the Kai Pterosaur flew, the surrounding flying boats naturally kept their distance. Anyone who stayed in Huyang City for a long time knew that this Kai Pterosaur had an extraordinary origin. Inside the pterosaur, a strong woman in armor was surrounded by people. She had 4 purple horns on her head, which looked like a crown. She had purple eyes, and purple flames were burning in them. Those who had lived in Huyang City for a long time could tell from her appearance that she was a descendant of the Moli clan, one of the top clans in Huyang City. Finally, we're back to Huyang City. The woman with the furry tail beside her let out a long sigh. I'm always worried about powerful beasts attacking me in the wild. It's better to be back in Huyang City and feel at ease. Sister Jiaorong, what is there to be afraid of with senior brother Jiao Wu here? The strong woman looked at a figure standing not far away. The figure looked like a metal sculpture and looked ordinary, but his fame had gradually spread. Jiao Wu Shui, the favorite disciple of Mo Lixiao, the supreme commander of the Huyang Legion, has already reached the 10th level of Void True God at a young age. With his profound accumulation, the outside world believes that he may become the eternal true God at any time. In the wild, you can't take chances. Gao Wushui looks cold, but he is actually very gentle. You must always be careful and alert, otherwise you will fall into the trap of the eternal beast and it will be too late to escape. With senior brother Gao Wu leading the team, there have never been any mistakes. The strong woman obviously trusted senior brother Gao Wu very much. Sister Feiyun, I know that your senior brother Gao Wu is very powerful. The woman with the furry tail joked. Huh? Gao Wushui was suddenly startled and looked outside. He commands the mechanical secret treasure, Kai Pterosaur, and his will is also the will of the entire Kai Pterosaur. With the help of the Kai Pterosaur, his senses are naturally very sharp, and he can detect the eternal true god-level beasts from afar in the wild. At this moment, he sensed Luo Feng's presence not far away. When Luo Feng was out there with the strength of an eternal true god, his aura would not be restrained to the point of absolute perfection. Instead, he would be like a normal eternal true god, emitting a little aura. Morosa, on the other hand, disguised himself as a void true god and was quite inconspicuous. Brother Gao Wu, what's wrong? The sturdy woman and the woman with the furry tail both looked at Gao Wushui. There is a strange eternal true god. Gao Wushui looked solemnly at Luo Feng flying towards the East City Gate in the distance. He is the man with dark golden horns. A strange eternal true god? The two women's expressions changed slightly. Looking from a distance, they both knew very well that in Huyang City, no matter how strong the family background was, it was ultimately the group of terrifying eternal true gods who determined the order of Huyang City. You have to be very observant, otherwise if you accidentally offend the eternal true god, you will probably die quietly. It is difficult for the city lord's mansion to find out who the murderer is. When it comes to the eternal true god, the authorities are unwilling to investigate too much because the highest level of military force in the entire Huyang city is the eternal true god level. Among the 3 large cities in Zhejiang Chaos Province, our Huyang city has the largest number of eternal true gods. Gao Wushui said solemnly, today, there is one more. Zhejiang City is where Zhejiang Hu lives. Most of the eternal true gods are unwilling to live and practice under the eyes of the Chaos Lord. After all, it's not pleasant to have a terrifying existence above their heads. The furry tail woman laughed. Huyang City is a prosperous trading city, and powerful people from various countries come here, so there are more eternal true gods. These children of big families act like their superiors in Huyang City. But what he fears most is the unknown eternal true god. Strange represents the unknown. It is very likely that he just passed by Huyang City, killed a few children of big families, and left immediately. There is no way to investigate. Luo Feng, Morosa, and Mo Yuhu have already entered the city and are flying inside the city. What a big city! After Morosa entered the city, he looked around and saw that there was only clouds and mist in the distance with no end in sight. There were undulating mountains and towering buildings that were even bigger than the mountains. Luo Feng was sensing the aura of the entire city and nodded. The Huyang City formation is in operation, and the space is isolated. If you want to enter or leave the city, you must enter or exit through the city gate. The sky above is also blocked. Morosa looked up at the sky and nodded. The space ban is very strong. There is no way to travel through the void in the entire Huyang City. Mo Yuhu also said, in Huyang City, we can only fly slowly, and we can't travel through the void. So once there is a criminal causing trouble, we can't escape quickly and will be easily caught by the Huyang guards. In Huyang City, we all have to fly slowly, but the Huyang guards can travel through the void, and the 10 Huyang legions can also travel through the void. Luo Feng smiled. It sounded scary, but the eternal true God could create the universe with just one thought, so there were plenty of ways to deal with it. Mo Yuhu, do you know where to buy a house? Luo Feng asked. I'll lead the way. Mo Yuhu was extremely enthusiastic. He was in a very good mood at the moment because he could return to Huyang City alive with the treasure. Call. Unable to travel through the void, Luo Feng and his companions flew for a long time before arriving at an extremely majestic palace. This palace is divided into 3 floors and covers a very large area. At the entrance of the first floor, there are a large number of true gods coming in and out. At the entrance of the second floor, only a small number of figures occasionally come in and out. The highest point of the third floor is completely silent. All residences purchased in Huyang City must be in this Chaos Palace. Mo Yuhu introduced, the first floor of the Chaos Palace is for receiving true gods. True gods can apply for a residence for free, but they need to pay a chaos crystal for living expenses every century. Luo Feng nodded. Huyang City occupies a very large area, so it is easy to provide each true god with a small cave. A large number of true gods need to pay a chaos crystal for each era, which can be accumulated into a huge income. The fees collected by the city lord's mansion are used, on the one hand, to maintain the operation of the entire Huyang city, such as supporting the 10 legions, the Huyang guards, a large number of officials, maintaining the formation, etc. On the other hand, they are provided to the Lord of Zhejiang and the King of Yu. The high and mighty King of Yu state possesses vast resources, many of which come from countless true gods. The second floor of this Chaos Palace is for receiving the Void True God. The Void True God needs to buy a residence. The third floor of the Chaos Palace is for receiving the Eternal True God. Mo Yuhu introduced. Luo Feng nodded, and took Morosa and Mo Yuhu directly to the third floor of the highest palace. The third floor of the Chaos Palace is majestic and spacious. As Luo Feng and his 3 companions flew in, 2 officials immediately appeared. They looked at Luo Feng with fiery eyes and a very respectful attitude. "Greetings, Lord God." The 2 officials were extremely friendly. In the eyes of the officials, Morosa and Mo Yuhu, who had perfectly restrained their aura, were just 2 servants of the eternal true God. "I plan to stay in Huyang City temporarily and need a place to live," Luo Feng said. This video will end here.